set. He is the in-house expert, we're going to call him, on all things financial aid related. So Al Dorset, the Director of Office of Student Financial Assistance, is here to present. After him, we will hear from the Maryland Department of Service and Civic Innovation about our Governor's Year of Service. Al, you have the floor.
Thank you, and I'll share my screen with everyone so we can start our presentation going. So let me indicate that MAC aims to process awards as quickly as possible for students who have been timely in FAFSA submission. We urge all students to, if you have not completed their FAFSAs, so if you're working with students, if you're engaging students, making sure those students complete their FAFSA. It's an option. Whether those students aren't sure that they're going to school, what school they want to go to, you want those students to complete the FAFSA to see what aid is available to them, not only federal aid, but what state aid is available to them. As many know, Department of Education rolled out the new FAFSA with the FAFSA simplification. During the rollout of the new FAFSA, several issues arose where one, students couldn't start the FAFSA until the end of December. Once the FAFSA came out, waiting for those records, the FAFSA information to be given to not only schools, but state agencies such as Impact, that we could determine what eligible aid a student may be eligible to receive. As the Department of Ed kind of slowly started delivering the FAFSAs to state agencies, they did come up against some different issues. One of those issues were individuals that were undocumented, especially those students who were citizens or eligible non-citizens, but their parents may have been undocumented or didn't have a social security number, were not able to complete their portion of the FAFSA. Luckily, the federal government has solved that and provided instructions for students and their families to be able to follow in those instances. Additionally, the federal government have ran into some issues with the new FAFSA simplification, where they were working with the IRS and some of the IRS tax data was not transferred over correctly, making it where certain issues with the tax information was incorrect and unable to calculate a correct student aid index, which we call SAI. Some of those areas were data fields pulled from mixed or updated original returns, leading to inconsistent data. Education tax credit data field was inaccurate, and manually entered information was incorrect as far as their instructions then providing to students and families to enter that information. About 20% of applicants.
No, I'm good with lamination.
Were affected by those issues. Quickly, on April 3rd, the federal government realized those discrepancies and worked on resolving those issues. They provided all state agencies as well as schools with two different reports. One report of affected known errors, listing students that had errors on their FAFSA, and another report of students that had no errors on their FAFSA for us to utilize and determine how to move forward with processing students' aid. As we move forward, the federal government, for those students that had known errors, will be reprocessing students' FAFSA. They have not started that yet, but they will be doing that soon. As we begin our awarding process moving forward, we will notify students of their errored FAFSAs, those students that have errored FAFSAs, and notify them that their FAFSA has an error based off the Department of Education. And once we receive the corrected FAFSA, then we will move forward with being able to process.
Just don't want them.
Although we identify that those students have errors on their FAFSA, we still have that date that the student completed their FAFSA prior to the May 15th date. And if anybody else can listen. So those students that have errored FAFSAs, even though they have an error FAFSA, because we have the date and they've completed the FAFSA prior to the priority date, which is May 15th.
Excuse me, Al.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
People, please mute your computers. Thank you. Go ahead, Al, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Those individuals will still be considered when determining eligibility for the Guaranteed Access Grant or any other of the grants or scholarships that Maryland Higher Education Commission oversees. So based off the analysis of the federal or ICER's Institutional Student Information Records, which is students' FAFSA data that we've received thus far, we've received over 136,465 ICERs. Those records are students' FAFSA data. It's been identified again, 22,530,000 of those ICERs had errors. 15,617 of those ICERs were rejected. Total ICERs with no errors or rejected was 98,318. And I'll point this out to you as we move forward, but also we identified that there were instances where individuals had a null family size, and that's key that we fix that null family size issue. So based off our analysis with GA awards, and as we talk about why family size is such an issue, the Guaranteed Access Grant, one is based off students and their families meeting 130% of the federal poverty guideline based off household size. So in looking at the FAFSAs that MHAC has received so far, you will see that we have the categories, family size, household income, how many eligible students actually fit within that category. And then the average Guaranteed Access Award based off award information from 2020 to 2024, and the total amount of funds that would be needed to be awarded to students. Again, this is a high projection. There are other qualifications that go into the FAFSA. All students, we could not fully identify yet that we're working on if they're in undergrad or grad, because grad students are not eligible for the Guaranteed Access Grant. But this gives kind of an oversight of what we're looking at when we look at the possible or potential number of students and the total amount of awards that students may be receiving. So our current challenges, as I indicated, family size is key. Family size has replaced household size when calculating a student's SAI, Student Aid Index. Family size can appear in multiple places throughout the student's FAFSA or ICER. So there is not one location in the ICER file that always contains family size. So in us testing these FAFSAs and ICERs coming in, we needed to follow the Department of Education's guidelines and us calculating the family size and making sure that we're following their rules to calculate the family size correctly. There are some circumstances in which family size is not displayed on the 24-25 ICER. So a dependent student whose parents are not required to file federal income tax return, or an independent student and spouse of applicant who is not required to file a federal tax return for the prior tax year is assigned a SAI equal to -1,500, or what we call a Pell 1 category. With these indications, because the student or the family has indicated that they are not required to file taxes, it gives them that automatic Pell 1 formula and does not require them to put any additional information. As I indicated on the previous slide, for the Guaranteed Access Grant, it is based on household number and 130% of the income based off that household number. So in instances where individuals do not have a household size, those are instances that are creating some issues for MHEC to determine eligibility for the student. MHEC is working on that process where students that have a null family size value will receive notification to go into the MDCAP system. and be able to update their family size, as well as we are creating a process that institutions that the students have selected on their FAFSA will also be able to see all students that have a no value family size. And if they have that information, they will be able to update that for the student. So either the student will be able to update it themselves through the MDCAP system, or we're pushing that institutions will be able to update it for them as well. Again, biggest reason for this is 130% of the federal poverty guidelines is one of the requirements to meet in order to be determined eligible for the guaranteed access grant. So that family size is very important. Now, in addition to the FAFSA, we also have the MHEC-1 app for undocumented students. And the MHEC-1 app is one application. It's not an app, it's within the MDCAP system. So students need to make sure that they create their MDCAPS account. But as a student goes into the MDCAPS account, they can create or they can complete the MHEC-1 app. There's a section for undocumented students that aren't eligible for federal student aid, but may be eligible for state aid. So those students can apply for that. But what the One app does is not only hold a place for undocumented students to be determined if they're eligible for state aid, but even other students that filled out the FAFSA, but there's other programs that we have, they may see those other programs and complete the MHEC-1 app for those other programs. If a student is eligible to complete the FAFSA, the MHEC-1 app will not replace the FAFSA. So the MHEC-1 app is a supplement of the FAFSA for undocumented students. However, if a student is an eligible citizen or an eligible non-citizen, they must complete the FAFSA. But they can also complete the MHEC-1 app for some of our other programs outside of the programs that directly coincide with the FAFSA. So for instance, the Guaranteed Access Grant or the overall Howard P. Rawlings Educational Excellence Awards Program. When a student completes the FAFSA, they're automatically determined or reviewed to determine if they're eligible for that. However, for our cybersecurity program, a student who completed the FAFSA and may be going into cybersecurity can go on and complete the MHEC-1 app and apply for the cybersecurity program or the Teaching Fellows program. So all our other programs are on there that a student can apply for to see if they're eligible to receive funds for that. So let's get into our awarding timeline. So the free application for federal student aid completion initiative allows high school districts, high schools, local education agencies, LEAs, and certain designated entities to access limited valuable FAFSA information for Maryland students. The FAFSA completion initiative data is anticipated to become available April 22nd, next Monday, once we load FAFSAs, which we're working on now, and we'll load during this week and over the weekend. So on April 22nd, the LEAs, the school districts, and nonprofits that are part of the FAFSA completion initiative should be able to start loading in their graduating seniors to see what seniors actually have completed the FAFSA and which ones have not. MHEC plans to begin awarding students who have completed the FAFSA and have official student aid index starting May 1st. So students who have completed the FAFSA by April 15th, we will start looking at those group of individuals and start awarding them. Then on May 15th, we will start awarding any individual that has completed the FAFSA by May 1st. And then we are guaranteeing that students who have completed the FAFSA by May 15th, the priority deadline date, which was extended, will be awarded the GA grant as long as they meet all eligibility requirements. Due to the issues with the FAFSA, we have limited our verification selection. Our verification will be 3 to 5% of applicants, and it will be based off 2 categories, automated and randomized. Applicants that indicate they have a general education diploma, GED, applicants identified as independent for other reasons they're working on a master's or professional degree for 24 years of age or older, will receive a request for documentation for the GED, just proof update the GED transcripts for the independent reason proof of dependency. The randomized is two subgroups. The subgroups are applicants with an ISA response code of 203, 206, 212, or 214, indicating that the FAFSA was not, or the IRS data was not imported into the FAFSA. And the student will need to provide us with their or their family's tax income information. Or for 214, the contributor did not file tax return, they will be required to provide a non-filing form. MHEC 1 app identified as eligible for the Guaranteed Access Grant or Educational Assistance. A certain percentage, 3 to 5% of those individuals will also be selected for verification. The documentation that will be requested will depend on what they listed on the MHEC 1 app. So if they indicated that they did file taxes, then we will request tax information. If they identified that they did not file taxes, then they will be required to do a non-filing form. Again, this is a small percentage, 3 to 5%. So just some eligibility requirements for the Guaranteed Access Grant. File the FAFSA remittance no later than June 1. May 15th is the priority awarding deadline. So we are guaranteeing that any student that completes the FAFSA and is eligible for the Guaranteed Access Grant by May 15th will be awarded. Recent changes to eligibility based off House Bill 923 passed in 2023. High school cumulative GPA is no longer required to be determined eligible for the Guaranteed Access. GED score must be 145, which is the minimum score to receive a GED. Applicants must apply within 6 years of high school graduation, and applicants must be under the age of 26. The maximum award amount for this upcoming 24-25 year is projected to be $22,100. Our awarding priorities. GA renewals will be the first priority. EA renewals will be the second priority. And then GA initials will be the third, and EA initials will be the fourth. EA initials will not be awarded until all GA awards, renewals, and initials have been completed. Expected that EA initials will not be awarded until the end of June is dependent upon remaining funds. And once again, MHEC aims to process all awards as quickly as possible for students that have submitted their FAFSA in a timely manner. We want to give families and students the opportunity to really see what type of resources they have so they can make the best choice for it. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer. I believe there are some questions in the chat. So Derek, if someone could assist me in reading some of these questions, but I have Mark Glasgow asking when might students be able to see their FAFSA has been received by MHEC. Again, as we indicated, students will be able to receive it by this Monday, the 22nd in DMD caps. Undocumented. Another question was how and when will undocumented students who have completed the MHEC 1 app be notified if they're eligible for the GA and other awards? Starting May 1st, we will pick up, just like students completing the FAFSA, we will also pick up students who have completed the MHEC 1 app by that April 15th timeline, and we will identify and notify those students of their eligibility. The deadlines for another question by Rachel Estambo was, are those deadlines April 15th, May 1st, and May 15th for FAFSA submission, or when corrections have been? Those are for FAFSA submission. So as long as the FAFSA has been submitted, which the Department of Ed has indicated that date, even if there were errors on that, as long as the FAFSA has been submitted and we have a good SAI, student aid index, then those students will be considered. Another question asks, will a link to this presentation be available? Yes, the link to the presentation will be available on our YouTube channel. Brian Callahan asked, does this mean that students who may not have income qualified for GA in the past years could be received, and qualify for the GA in past years could possibly receive now? Or is it first-time college matriculation under the age of 26? No, it is not first-time college matriculation under the age of 26. You are correct. Individuals that never previously received a Howard P. Rawlings Award, so whether it be the EA or the GA, as long as they've never received it before and they're under the age of 26 and meet all other requirements, those individuals could be eligible to receive the guaranteed access for this upcoming 24-25 year. Brianna, I'm sorry, I said Brian before, it was Brianna Callahan. Brianna also added to the question, for students who did not make the GPA cut off in years past, would they now qualify? The requirement has been removed. Yes, for students who did not make the GPA cut in prior years, if they've never received a Howard P. Rawlings Award before, whether it be G or EA, yes, they would be considered for the award this year. Another question, students who have submitted the MHEC One app are logging on and seeing that their application has not received. When the customer service, they say that they are working on this, when this will be resolved. This is part of the FAFSA issue. Because the MHEC One app correlates to determine student aid index, the SAI, the same as the FAFSA. As the issues that happened with the FAFSA, we could not show the MHEC One app information at that time because they correlate with each other. So now that we're resolving the issues with the federal government, with the FAFSA, we're looking at that. All that information will be available on the 22nd. Another question, why did the analysis GA award slide say average award for students was 13,884 and not 20,000? Again, when we looked at the average award we took from what was the average award in 2020, what was the average award in 2022, what was the average award in 2023, and what was the average award or in the current 2024 or 23-24 award year. When we looked at that average, we just wanted to see across the board what students would have received based off that average. The average is not 20,000 because many students, the GA goes up to 22,100, but because many students receive Pell and other types of awards, that award can go from anywhere from $500 all the way up to 22,100. So that's why we gave the average up to 13,884. Again, the max that a student can receive is 22,100, and if a student is eligible for that max, then the student will receive. Another question, are graduate students eligible for scholarships, not just loans? MHEC does have certain scholarship programs for graduate students, such as our graduate and professional scholarship program, which is awarded through the institutions, as well as the teaching fellows and some other programs are eligible, where graduate students are eligible to receive. So definitely I tell all individuals to go to our MHEC website, which is www.mhec.maryland.gov. And as soon as you go in there, it says need money for college. Click on that and it will list all of our different awards.
Al, we're gonna make this next question our last one, so we leave plenty of time for the Department of Service and Civic Innovation, and then we'll come back at the end to wrap up those questions in the chat.
Sure, that's fine. I guess the last question I will see is, for students who didn't make the GPA cut-off years in the past, we already answered that question, that those students would be eligible. And it looks like some of the questions are repeats, so we definitely can move on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. That was a lot of information at one time, so there'd probably be a lot of questions at the end, but thank you so much for that. We are going to move forward with the Department of Service and Civic Innovation. We have here with us both Brittany Stevens and Tahira Holmes. If I heard you correctly, Al, it sounds like students will be able to now, at this point, up to age 26, receive that guaranteed access grant as an initial award. So that brings us to whether or not a gap year may be a good fit for some Pell eligible students. So we're going to hear now from Brittany Stevens from the Department of Service and Civic Innovation. She's going to tell us about the Governor's Year of Service. Brittany, are you on? Are you able to unmute?
All right, there I am. I was unable to unmute right now. Do you have can I have ability to share my screen as well? While we're getting that set up, I just want to say thank you all for inviting me today. We're going to talk about some exciting things that the governor has came forth of the Department of Service and Civic Innovation. Truly happy and grateful to be amongst you all this morning to share with you some things that we're going to do, especially if you all are interested and you have that student that's sitting in your seat right now. You're thinking to yourself, what am I going to do next for them? What is something that they're not completely ready to go to college or go to a community college, but I still want them to be successful in some way, shape, and form. So we have the service year option, and it's okay if you can't share right now. I would just continue on because I see somebody else's screen up. But so I am Brittany Stevens, and I am the member recruitment lead for the Department of Service and Civic Innovation. This department came into fruition only a year ago under the SERVE Act. And the SERVE Act stands for Serving Every Region Through Vocational Exploration. And that is exactly what we do. This is not a program for just Central Maryland, Eastern Shore, Southern Maryland, or Mountain or Western Maryland. This is a program for the entire state of Maryland. Now, if you don't remember anything else that I say in this presentation, remember this: serve.maryland.gov. That is serve.maryland.gov. That is our website, and you can find all the information on there, especially our member application. We call all of our members, all of the participants in our programs, our members. So what is this service year option, right? It's an additional option for your students to go into, especially those that are graduating. So the service year option, and we also have the Maryland Core, which I like to define as 2 streams in 1 river. So Maryland Core is anyone that is over the age of 18 years of age, over 18. You don't even have to be a Maryland resident to be a member of Maryland Core. Then we have the service year option. The service year option is anyone between the ages of 18 to 21, those that have recently graduated with their high school diploma or with their GED. Now, you do have to be a Maryland resident to be a member of the service year option, which will be particularly those that you are impacting the most. So I pause for a second, give yourselves a round of applause because you guys are doing already tremendous work with your students to get them in college. So with that act that's coming up, we're able to have that growth year. So the service year option is an option for anyone 18 to 21, where we will match them as best as our ability to something that they're passionate about. That's serving every region through vocational exploration. So something that they're passionate about, something that they aspire to be in their career. We match them to the best of our ability to either a nonprofit, a for-profit, or a government agency. We call those partnerships our host site partners, right? We match them also specifically to the region that they're in. So we won't have someone that is in Baltimore working in St. Mary's County, right? We want to match them specifically to something that they're passionate about in their region. The great things about this program is that we have professional development, and our professional development is quite impactful. It is not a bore at all. We teach advocacy, right? We teach financial literacy, financial education. We want to make sure that they understand wellness, who they are. We also have workshops for resume writing, interviewing skills, truly wraparound services. And not to mention, not only the professional development that's wraparound services, we also assist with bill pay, we assist with clothing, housing, and transportation. I mean, it almost sounds too good to be true, but it is not, because if you're listening to this right now, serve.maryland.gov is where you can find that application. We're still accepting member applications. Now, many of you have heard about this program and saw that there was a priority deadline of April 1st. We have another deadline of May 15th. So those students that are still in the back of the class and you're like, what's my plan? They're not going to college right now. They need help. Or a student that graduated a couple of years ago and may want to make that transition back into the workforce. This is a program for them. We also assist with mentorship. Every member in our program has an on-site mentor as well as a coach. Now, all the coaches are hired within our department that check in with our members every other week. So this is the wraparound services that I was talking about. Yes. Also, you're going to earn some money as well. So cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. $15 an hour minimally for a 40-hour work week. Now, this is a full-time work experience. So if someone is in community college right now, they can do the program only if they're doing part-time. And I would say only about 1 to 2 classes. And you know that student, so you will know if they're able to handle a full-time job, because they are being on a full-time job salary and also taking classes at the same time, right? So we only suggest that if they are only taking maybe 1 or 2 night classes, that it doesn't interfere with the program. This program is for 9 months. A 9-month program. We're talking $15 an hour. We're talking being matched with something that you're passionate about within the area that you work in the area that you live in. We do have certain focus areas. We have focus areas such as climate, conservation, environment. We have historic trades, which is huge, right? We have IT, cybersecurity, education, which all of you guys are in. So if you guys are hearing about this program and you have a small nonprofit or a large nonprofit, you can also still apply to be a host site partner. We also, any organization that is under 49 persons, we grant you the money to have our members work for you, right? We also do co-placement in this amazing organization as well. So we'll have at least 2 persons that they'll be working with across the state of Maryland, right? At the end of the 9 months, every member is awarded $6,000. I get excited when I say that. $6,000 for every single member after the completion of this program. That $6,000, we do give it into 2 different ways. The first way, if this is a student that is taking this as a gap year and/or growth year, we want to put that money into a Maryland 529 campaign. The reason being for that is because we know if we hand a student $6,000, it mostly will go to Chipotle and Chick-fil-A, like myself. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that the money is going into good use. And that's why we have the financial literacy and financial education professional developments to teach them how to best manage their money. Also, outside of that, if college is not in their near and dear future, and that's okay as well, we do give it the $6,000 into a cash stipend. So they still get that, right? If a person is in this program, they can stay in this program for up to 2 years. Up to 2 years to be in this program, because we do know that not everyone is going to get all of the things that they need to be successful. And mind you, we don't project what success looks like on our members. We want our members to let us know, what does success look like to you, right? We don't look at GPAs to get in this program. We don't look at your work experience or your background to be in this program. You don't have to be documented to be in this program as well. We are truly covering everything. When Westmore ran and he said, I'm not going to leave anyone behind, right? And out of that, it birthed this department. And that's how we're not leaving anyone behind with the service year option in the Maryland Core program. Now, I'll yield right there because I know we are a little bit at time. So I'll yield right there to see if we have any questions. But serve.maryland.gov. That is our website where you can find the application. It is still open. It will be open for members up until May 15th. That is our second deadline. And for host site partners, it will be open until May 1st. Please apply. And if you are applying to this program, if you have a student that is applying, that doesn't mean that they're committing themselves to the program. They're merely just giving themselves another option. Say that their financial aid package didn't look like what they thought that it was going to look like. This will be a perfect opportunity that they can do this program for 9 months instead of going straight into college and then, having to leave if the finances is not there. Or it also helps them to see what they can actually major in, right? Because you don't want to be like me and change your major 3 times and have a lot of loans out of that. You want to be a person that gets that first hands-on experience to say, you know what, I can go forth into this major. And also when my professor is speaking to me, I have the knowledge in the background to say, I know exactly what you're talking about. Just 9 months, $15 an hour, wraparound services, matching you to something that you're passionate about, mentorship, professional development, $6,000 at the end. Serve.maryland.gov. And I'll yield right there for some questions, Miss Ayana.
Thank you so much, Brittany. That was wonderful. We know for a gap year to be successful, it has to be intentional and dedicated to personal growth. So it sounds like this governor's year of service definitely fits the bill for that. We're going to go to the chat now and see if we have any questions. If you have any questions, please place them in the chat. One more time, Brittany, is there a maximum age limit on this? I think I saw you shake your head. No, there is no maximum age limit.
Brittany, if I can jump in, I'm Tahira Holmes. I am the Education and Workforce Lead at the Department of Service. And as Brittany said, there are 2 streams of service. So for our service year option, you do have to have graduated within the past 3 years. But for the Maryland Core program, which you can find that application and information at the same website, there is no age limit. So that is for our Marylanders who are looking to enter the workforce after they have been taking care of children or elderly care, or if they're just looking to upskill, or if you're just saying, I have been in a career, for 20 years and I'm looking for something different. So there is no age limit for the Maryland Core. For service year option, you have to have graduated within the past 3 years, but outside of that, they are essentially the same program.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tahira, so much for that. As we continue to look for questions in the chat, please feel free if you have any questions at all for Al Dorset from Maryland Higher Education Commission or for the Department of Service and Civic Innovation. You can go ahead and drop those in the chat now. If you've already placed it in the chat and we have not gotten to you, go ahead and drop that in again. So Joe has a question. Are you partnering with workforce development programs? Okay. That's okay. We're going to get Deborah to unmute you.
Thank you, Joe. Joe and I have known each other for some time in my previous role. Yes, we are. We are partnering with workforce development programs across the state of Maryland. So, we do have a great working relationship with Workforce Montgomery, because I know you're in Montgomery County. So that is something that we are working with. So thank you for that, Joe, and great to see you again.
All right, our next question is, what is the website to apply? Which I think you've already said a couple of times. We can probably also drop that in the chat so people have the live link for that as well. Okay, and then Al, looks like we have a couple questions coming up for you as well in the chat. Are you still there? All right, so Rachel's asking, for students who have submitted the one app, the problem is that the portal doesn't show they've submitted and they are resubmitting several times. This is a reposted question from the top. Thank you, Rachel. While we get Al unmuted. There we go. And then a follow-up question, Deborah, if you can unmute Al. Disha from the College Bound Foundation asks, for Next Gen Scholars, there is a transcript requirement on their MD-CAPS One app. The school year is dated 24-25, but requested their senior year grades 23-24. Is this just an error, or can their transcripts be uploaded?
So, depending on what program the student has applied for, if they just did the FAFSA and they did not apply for any other program, if they apply for a special program that requires the transcript, then yes, that's why it's requesting the transcript. So that if that student reaches out to us, then we can go and look further to see what programs they applied for. Yes, the students can still upload the transcript if they need to upload the transcript. In regards to the MHEC One app, the MHEC One app, the student gets a notification that the app has been completed. Again, the reason why the MHEC One app is not showing on their account is because of the FAFSA information, and it all coordinates with each other. That's why it's not showing at this point in time, which is the reason why we gave students a confirmation. So students should not be completing it again because they have that confirmation. That confirmation is receipt that we have the MHEC One app.
Okay, so Disha looks like she has a follow-up question for the Next Gen Scholars. So she's saying students have not applied directly to that specific program, but it looks like she's saying, if I understand correctly, Disha, that it's requesting 23-24. Can they still upload it if it's the wrong date? Can they still upload that transcript? And I think you said yes, they can, but then also contact your office.
Yes. So I guess so there's several programs. We have a next generation pre-qualification program where students are going and students in 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade are going and applying to see if they pre-qualify. If a student does pre-qualify, then that student, when they graduate their senior year, is automatically eligible for the guaranteed access grant because they pre-qualified previously. If a student is already pre-qualified as a next generation student, then the nonprofit organization needs to upload a list of their graduating seniors that pre-qualified. so that student can automatically be awarded the next generation scholarship once we actually start awarding those students. So communication has gone out to all the nonprofits to start awarding or providing or uploading that senior list into the MDCAP system, so that when the FAFSA is imported into production and we run awarding, that process picks up that student to award them. And again, we have not imported FAFSAs yet, so definitely the student should call because we shouldn't be requesting any any high school credits or anything like that at this point in time.
Okay, thank you for that. And then Yvette has a question. Is it correct the new maximum award for GA is $22,100?
Yes, that is the anticipated maximum award. The maximum award based off state law is the increased amount of tuition and fees with the highest institution at Maryland. So we have preliminary from each institution of their increased tuition and fees for the upcoming 24-25 year. They do, of course, still have time to make adjustments. So that is the anticipated amount. It may go up possibly, but right now that is the anticipated amount.
Okay, and then Tahira, I think this one is for you. Someone said, can you please add to the chat the name of the Maryland service program that does not have an age limit requirement?
I'm adding it now, but that's the Maryland Core. Does not have the age requirement, and then the service year option does, but I'm adding that right now.
Okay, thank you. Well, this has certainly been an informative and eventful first round this morning. We are looking at 9:51. Are there any final questions anyone wants to put in the chat? You can go ahead and do that now. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for your commitment to the students and helping them not only complete the FAFSA, but also know about all the other opportunities the state of Maryland has to offer. Any final thoughts, any final questions? As I do not see any in the chat, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Thank you, Tahira. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Derek. We will see you back online again at 11 for our next session. Thank you so much, everyone.